This one pisses me off. quote unquote for NASCAR. We're going to be doing more interaction behind the grandstands. Quote unquote. I know I said it twice. You know, we're going to get back to the Speed TV days. I said, oh, you did not just say that. I wanted to call them up and say, what? So here's what NASCAR did wrong. When our pre-race show, when it went away by choice from Fox TV, NASCAR decided not to do anything. So NASCAR was relying on TV to do the NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot. NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot. My gosh, what an incredible show for all the fans to get to the racetrack early, get their cars parked, go to the racetrack 5 hours early because they wanted to see that show. They wanted to, we had the big screen, we had music, we were throwing out free stuff. It was the place to be. And you would end up on national TV. So NASCAR said, okay, Fox TV can't do it anymore, so we're just not going to do anything. NASCAR messed up. They said, hey, it's really boring behind these grandstands, but, they're collecting a lot of money from TV. That's the controversial quote right here. NASCAR was collecting a lot of money from TV, and they're doing good, and they're like, we're just going to leave. Now, I'm not saying they're saying this, but it took them a long time to fix this. You went to the NASCAR races, and all I heard after the NASCAR race day show wasn't there anymore. They said, it's boring. There were probably 2 to 3 years that there was nothing. Hell, Toyota felt bad, and they put up some stuff to, let people drive some cars. A Monster Energy drink come in, and they brought some motorcycles in, let people do some flipping. So NASCAR's just, they're watching everything, and NASCAR's kind of thinking, well, better they spend the money because that way we don't have to. Well, it's finally come to a head, and NASCAR has said on their 75th anniversary launch, so they did have a 75th anniversary launch where they talked to everybody in the industry, and they said, quote unquote, we are going to bring back the old Speed TV days. So NASCAR is called ISC. They own International Speedway Corporation, right? And then there's Marcus Smith. His father passed away, Bruton. They own SMI, Speedway Motorsports Incorporated, or just Speedway Motorsports. Anyway, Marcus Smith started screaming right away. I mean, like months later, oh my God, there's nothing going on at the tracks. He called me up, Herman, can you come back? And I said, Marcus, I'm burnt out. I don't want to do any of it. So we got announcements coming soon. I'm going to let that take care of itself. But let's address the NASCAR's version. They own ISC. Now, they own Daytona. They own Talladega, so on and so forth. NASCAR is made up of, ISC owns these tracks, SMI owns these tracks, and then you got independent racetracks, which is like Pocono and the one here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway, which is owned by Curtis Francois. So there's a couple tracks that are owned by a person. I just said that, Pocono and, of course, St. Louis. So NASCAR said this, quote unquote, at the ISC tracks, at the NASCAR tracks, we're bringing back Trackside Live, they're going to call it. So they're going to be ramping that up. Now, they had it last year, but, in my opinion, I love everybody, but they didn't have anybody that anybody knew. When you're going to do these shows, you got to blow it out your butt, man. You got to get it on. You got some music. You got to be throwing out free stuff, and you got to have controversial figures up there. You got to have people, when they're walking by this show, you look and you're like, wow, that's Kevin Harvick. That's, any controversial driver, Kyle Busch. So right now, I think NASCAR means well, but they got to get some drivers up there. And if they did do it last year, it didn't resonate. They got to get it going. Let me talk good about NASCAR. They see what they did wrong. They said they're going to try to get back to the Speed TV days. And collectively, we're all going to do that. And I am going to be part of that. That announcement will be coming out very soon, and I'm going to let them all do the talking. All right. So, business. Steve O'Donnell, who is the COO. Herman, what the hell's a COO? I'm a redneck from Arnold, Missouri. Chief Operating Officer. So that means Steve O'Donnell, he's big time. So they said, well, Steve, kind of like State of the Union address, right? NASCAR had theirs, I'm having mine. They said, what's NASCAR going to look like? They said, well, let me get this right. They said, he said, we're going to be looking at new venues. We're going to go to new racetracks. We're looking at going to New York. Okay, right away, I thought to myself, we tried this. It was a complete catastrophe. It was a meeting held like in the city, and people are screaming and hollering. If you go back, I don't know, 20 years ago when they tried this, they were going to try to do it somewhere, around the city, outside the city. It didn't work. So it looks like NASCAR has dug their feet in. Looks like they're going to try to get back to New York City. Now, remember, I'm going to say some things in succession here. We already raced in Watkins Glen, New York, right? But NASCAR wants to be in the city. Remember that. They said we're gonna try to go out to we're gonna try to go to Canada or Mexico. Now, remind you, we've already been to Mexico. We've been to Mexico City, Mexico. I've raced there in the Xfinity Series, but they have not had the Cup Series there. They're going to go to Canada. Well, we've already been to Canada with the trucks and the Xfinity Series. I love going to Canada. I love going to Mexico. Looks like they're going to try to do this with the Cup Series. Now, here's the one that caught me off guard. They said, we're going back to Chicago. We're going back to LA. So hold on. We already raced in Chicago, Joliet, right? It's 1 hour out of the city. Okay. So you say, okay, it's Chicago. NASCAR wants to go in the city of Chicago. Therefore, we have the street course in 2023. Now, we race in California. We race in Fontana, 1 hour out of LA, right? That ain't good enough. That's why they went to the city. They went to do the LA Coliseum. So you see what's going on? We feel like, NASCAR hasn't done what they needed to do at LA or Chicago. They're going to go at it again, and they're going to get these tracks in the city. That's the big thing here.